Pretty much every recording you've ever heard uses compression in one way or another, and a compressor is a really important tool in every studio. A compressor can add sustain and punch to your signal, and it can also even out your playing dynamics. But the question is, do you need a compressor pedal on your pedal board? So that's what we're going to talk about today, and specifically we are going to take a look at the Case Study Effects Studio Compressor. What's up everyone? Welcome back to Sunday Tone. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please take a second and subscribe. It helps support the channel and it helps me to keep creating these videos. And also, if you're interested in any of the gear that I'm using to make this video or record any of this, please check the description below. I have some Sweetwater affiliate links, and that also helps support the channel as well. So, do you need a compressor pedal like this one? You know, compressors are not a super fancy, super in-your-face effect like something like a delay or reverb or an overdrive would be, but they can be really important in getting that extra 10%, getting that extra, sustain and the extra evenness that you're looking for. A compressor basically does, what the name says. It takes the peaks of your signal and the valleys of your signal, compresses the dynamics down, and usually on a compressor you have a gain knob that allows you to take that compressed signal and then bump it back up. So in turn, this adds sustain, this adds a little bit more punchiness to your signal, and it can even out those dynamics. So if you have really loud sounds, really quiet sounds, it can bring those together and help your sound to stick out in a mix. So there are a few different ways you can set up a compressor pedal, and specifically with this one that has a lot of controls on it, you can use a compressor in a few different ways. For example, you can set it more subtly, use it as an always on kind of tone shaping tool to shape your tone, to add sustain, and to even out your playing. This can kind of beef up your clean tone and just add a little bit of extra sparkle and punch to your sound. Another way you can use a compressor is more of an effect, kind of giving a more squashed tone out of it, and that's what famous pedals like the Dynacomp and the CS3, some of those pedals are known for, but really squashing your signal down and getting an effect out of it. You can also use a compressor as a boost. You can use this one specifically as more of a drive, and I'll show you that. All right, so let's take a quick look at the Case Study Studio Compressor and the controls that you have on it. So across the top, we have the ratio, which controls the amount of compression that's being applied to the signal. So the higher you turn it up, the more compressed that it's gonna be. And then you have the threshold, and the threshold kind of controls when the compression kicks in. So the lower you set it, you're not gonna get as much compression, and the higher you set it, it's gonna kick in earlier and more compression is gonna be applied. So next on the top right, we have the gain knob, and the gain knob is kind of your output volume from the pedal. So as you add compression, your signal is being brought down, and we use the output gain to kind of bring the signal back up, or we can use it to boost the signal on the output of the pedal. And then next on the bottom row, we have attack and release knobs. And so the attack, the lower you have it, that's a faster attack, so it will immediately grab onto the signal. And if you want your signal to kind of have more attack to it, And to be a little bit more punchy, you will set a slower attack. So you turn that knob up and get kind of a slower attack and lets more of your dry signal come through. And then on the right, we have a release knob, and that kind of does the opposite on the way out of the compression. This is when the compressor releases your signal. And so the higher you have it up, the longer the compression clamps down on your signal, and the lower you have it, the quicker it releases your signal. And so we also have a bright switch in the middle that can add clarity and sparkle into your signal. And sometimes when you have more extreme compression settings, the beginning of your note is kind of being squashed down, and perceivably there's a little bit of loss of tone, or kind of a darkening of the tone, to me at least. And so having that bright switch allows you to add sparkle, add clarity back into the signal, which sounds really nice. I use that on the track at the beginning of the video, and I really like the way that it sounds. So let's start out with the studio compressor on a more kind of subtle, always on setting that's gonna add some sustain. It's also boosting my signal a little bit and kind of evening out my playing. And as I've been testing this over the past month, I've kind of had the pedal set up this way. And this is also how I had it set up in the intro of the video. But today I'm playing PRS SE DGT, and I am running from there into the studio compressor, through a little bit of reverb, and then into Tonex. And if you're interested in the Tonex Captures I'm using, check the description below and I'll have links and info for that there. And so this is my clean tone. And so now let me turn on the compressor. It's boosting the signal a little bit, and it's also compressing and adding a little sparkle to the sound. So let's hear that same part without the compression. And so let's hear a little bit more with it. Here is my clean tone again. And now with the studio compressor. All right, so let's listen to the studio compressor along with some delay and reverb, and this is how I might use this in the context of a song. And remember, there's no other drive going on here, so it's just the studio compressor kind of driving the signal and compressing the signal. All right, so now we have the pedal set up on a more squashed, more compressed sound, and this is where you can get more of an effect out of it, and you can use it more like a traditional kind of Dynacomp style, raw style compressor pedal. So let's take a listen. So you kind of get that more squashed, traditional kind of compressor effect out of it by setting it this way. And this is how it sounds without the compressor. So I might use a setting like this when I am playing slide and want to do some kind of swells with the slide that adds some sustain to it, along with the delay and the reverb. So this is what that sounds like. So now I want to show you the drive mode that is inside of the Case Study Studio Compressor, and you achieve this by turning the threshold all the way up and turning the ratio of the compression all the way down. And this is the sound that you get out of it, which is really cool that you can do this with this pedal and kind of get another tone out of it and be able to use this in another way. So this is what it sounds like. So what I really like about the Case Study Studio Compressor is it gives you more control than some of those other traditional guitar compressor pedals like the Dynacomp and the Tone Press and any Ross-based kind of compressor pedals. It gives you those studio controls like attack, release, ratio, and threshold that really allow you to dial in the pedal and use it in a number of different ways. Some of these kind of two-knob compressor pedals don't allow you to use them in as many different ways as that you can use with a pedal like this that has all of that control. So a couple other things that I really like about this studio compressor pedal is, one, you have a really low noise floor, which is nice because with compression you are raising the noise floor, which sometimes compression can add a lot of noise into your signal. Two, I really like the bright switch, which can add clarity and sparkle to your sound and just make it sound better. And the ability to use the drive mode or use the pedal as a boost is a really nice addition. Just adds more options that you can use this pedal for. And finally, it comes in at a pretty low budget. It's not super expensive compared to some compression pedals that give you this type of control, like the Empress compressor or the Cali 76 that have these types of controls on them. Let me know in the comments below what compressor pedal you are currently using, or if you're looking at picking one up. I think the Studio Compressor from Case Study is a really good option at the price and for the controls and the features that it gives you. And thanks for checking out this video, and I will see you all in the next one.